Okay, welcome to the new session on ARM architecture. Now, in this session, we will study more about the 7TDMI CPU core. Okay, this is the data flow model of a ARM 7TDMI. This is the data flow model of a ARM 7TDMI processor. If you look into this data flow model, various blocks are there. Okay, I will see important blocks over here. First of all, everything under this ARM architecture, the data size is 32 bits wide, instruction size is 32 bits wide, so almost everything is 32 bits wide. All the registers which are available in a register bank, those are also 32 bits wide. So everything is 32 bits wide. Okay, now of course, if you look at this side, there is an ARM instruction decoder is there, as well as the control logic is there. Means all the instruction decoding is to be carried out, and the suitable control signals have been generated over here. Okay, there is a thumb instruction decomposer is there, because we know that we studied that the ARM 7TDMI, the CPU core supports the thumb instruction set also. There are the two instruction sets possible. One is the ARM instruction set, which is 32 bits wide, means the instruction size is 32 bits wide under the ARM state, and under the thumb state, instruction size is 16 bits wide. Okay, now this is the register bank. So overall there are the 37 general purpose registers are there. Okay, along with the status registers. So overall 37 registers are there, and every register is having 32 bits wide. Its size is 32 bits wide. Okay. Now, of course, the memory is available over here. Okay, and there is an address bus is there through which the core is addressing the memory area, memory locations. So address register is there. Whenever you are accessing the memory locations, of course, the address incrementer you need. So address incrementer is there. The incremented address will be available over here to access the next memory location. Okay. Now the data has been loaded from the memory to the register bank. That is what the load kind of operation. So under the load kind of operation, whichever the information you need, whichever the data you need, take it from the memory to the register bank. Then you perform the operations on the register contents using ALU. Okay, so if you look at this, the register bank contents are available to the ALU through this one bus is there. Okay, A bus is there. The other data can be taken through the B bus, and it is available to the ALU. But whenever the data is coming from the other side, means through the B bus side, it is passing either through the barrel shifter, or directly it can be loaded into the ALU. Of course, there is an additional hardware block is there, which is known as a barrel shifter. Okay, barrel shifter is supporting for the multiplication and the division kind of operations. So we know that whenever the binary data has been shifted towards the left hand side, the multiplication operation is carried out, multiplication takes place, and whenever the binary data has been moved or shifted towards the right hand side, the division kind of operation takes place. So automatically, whenever you want to perform a pre-processing kind of a things, or a multiplication or a division kind of a thing, that data can be passed, or that can be pre-processed by using the barrel shifter, and then pre-processed data is available for the operations in a ALU. So this is optional. Either you can use the barrel shifter, or you can bypass the barrel shifter and can take the data into the ALU. So that whichever the operations you want to perform, you perform it into the ALU. The result will be prepared, and then the result is again Either it would be stored back to the register bank, or it can be further provided to the memory through the address register. You can see the memory is, means the address register is addressing the destination location at which the data has been, or the result has been copied or stored. Okay. Another important feature is that it is having an on-chip multiplier. Okay, it is having an on-chip multiplier. So this is again a hardware block. So as per the requirement, or as per the uh, activities which are to be carried out, the multiplication is carried out by using the on-chip multiplier which is available. Okay, so this is how the core 7 ARM7 TDMI core looks like. Okay, here the whenever the data is to be written onto the memory location, the data has been passing through the data bus. The same thing has been explained over here in detail. So inline barrel this is how the which is a hardware TDMI core. So pre-processing is to be carried out data flow model contains ARM7 TDMI by the instructions, which improves the core performance and the code density. Means naturally, I told you that using the barrel shifter, the multiplication or division kind of operations are carried out. So it is not necessary to write again a separate program for the multiplication or division purpose. The hardware itself is doing that. So naturally, it improves the core performance as well as it improves the code density. Within less code size, you can perform the uh, possible operations, you can say, or the required operations. ARM supports the thumb set also, means it's a 16-bit instruction set. All the instructions are 16 bits wide under this thumb state. Sometimes sometimes some of the operations are executed using 16-bit instructions instead of using 32-bit lengthy instructions. So one thing is that we have to we have to remember that always the memory size is of a, means memory takes the information, memory stores the information in a byte format. So whenever we are looking at the 32-bit lengthy instruction, means a 32-bit lengthy instruction is to be divided into the 4 bytes, and these 4 bytes have been stored into the memory. So a single 32-bit instruction consumes 4 bytes in a memory, and 16-bit instructions consume 2 bytes in a memory. Okay, so there are the some instructions available in ARM architecture which are common in a 16-bit thumb state as well as 32-bit ARM state. So if suppose those instructions you need to use, so better is that you use it under the thumb state, so that they will consuming only 2 bytes each, which automatically improves the code density. So if you look at the percentage, so automatically it improves by the 30% over the 32-bit. So less memory size is required to store the instructions, which is at the end performing the same kind of operation, okay, as compared with the 32-bit. So code density is improved over here under the thumb state. Conditional access is there, which is the another feature of an ARM processor or ARM architecture. Usually in this case, the instructions are executed only when a specific condition has been satisfied. So when any condition is there which has been added, of course this is optional. Okay, so as per the requirement, whenever the condition has been added and when that condition is satisfied, then only the instructions are executed, which automatically improves the code density and which reduces the branching operations. Okay, we will see more detail about this further with some examples whenever we are studying the assembly instructions as such. Okay, ARM architecture supports special DSP related instructions also. Okay, so digital signal processing related instructions are available, and ARM is supporting to that through the instruction set. Okay, so directly you can perform those digital signal processing kind of applications over here. Now just little bit more elaborated over here, the TDMI, the full form is available here. So T stands for the thumb extension. Thumb extension means the thumb state ARM architecture supports the thumb state. D stands for the debug facility, which is available on chip, debugging facility. Okay. M stands for the multiplier, directly the multiplier which is available. A hardware block is there available on a ARM core. It is available, it's a part of ARM architecture, as well as in circuit emulator. Macro cell facility is available. ICE macro cell is available inside the on chip, or it is available on chip. So I stands for the ICE macro cell. Okay. So if you look into the data flow model, that is what I told you. So again, load store has been elaborated over here. Okay. Load store architecture. Load stands for what? Which is copying the data from the memory to the register. Okay. And store means what? Which is copying the data from the register to memory. Okay. No data processing instructions that directly manipulate the data in a memory. So all the data processing is to be happening on a register contents only. So not referring the memory every time. Okay. In case of 8085, we have studied one instruction, that is MVI, which is every time referring the memory for the operations. Data processing is carried out solely in the register contents. This is very important. For load and store instructions, the incrementer updates the address register. So before the core reads or writes the next register value from or to the next sequential memory location. That is what I explained you earlier. Processor continues executing the instructions until an exception or interrupt changes the normal execution flow. Okay. Of course, we'll look into the details about the ARM processor modes. So normally ARM is working in a different modes, and ARM is changing its mode from one mode to another mode whenever there will be an exception or interrupt occurs, otherwise not. So this is very important. So ARM processor is always working in a user mode, which is the default mode available, and from that particular mode it will enter into the other modes whenever there will be an exception or an interrupt occurs. More details about this we will see further. Of course, the ARM processor is there are the I told you that the processor is working in a different modes. So these processor modes are uh, under the or categorized under the two types. One, you can say privileged mode or the non-privileged mode. Okay. So privileged mode means what? It is having a full read-write access to the CPSR. CPSR is nothing but what? Current program status registers. So of course in our architecture there are the status registers are there, which is saving the current status in that register. Okay. So we'll see the bitwise details about the CPSR in the coming slides. Okay. So whenever this is the 32-bit register, special register is available, which is known as a current program status register. So whenever you have a read-write access, means you can change the data, okay, or you can read the data. This is possible under the privilege mode. Other mode is the non-privilege mode. Only read access to the specific field, that is a control field of the CPSR, a certain part of the CPSR, and read write access to the condition flags. Means of course in a CPSR there are the flag bits are also available. We'll see more details about the CPSR bitwise further in the coming slides. There are such 7 processor modes are there. So 6 modes are there. They are the privilege modes. They are coming under the category privilege modes, in which read-write access is there to the CPSR, and one is the non-privileged mode. One is the non-privileged mode. So total 7 modes are there. Privileged modes are known as abort mode. Their titles are like this: abort mode, fast interrupt request mode. In short, it is known as an FIQ. Interrupt request mode. In short, it is known as an IRQ. Supervisor mode, system mode, and undefined mode. So these are the privilege modes. So under the various modes, these are the registers available. So this is the entire register set is there. So that has been shown in this particular diagram. So how many registers are available like this in each mode. So there are the default mode is always a user mode. Also it's parallel to the, or it is nothing but the system mode, another name you can say. So system and the user mode, they are coming in one column. FIQ is there, fast interrupt request. This is the interrupt related mode is there. Supervisor mode is there. Abort mode is there. Interrupt request mode is there. And the undefined mode is there. So totally 7 modes are there. Under these 7 modes, these are the registers available. These are the registers available. These are the general purpose registers available. Okay, like this. Okay, in each mode. Now see that R0 to R15 registers are there. Now in all these modes, R13 is nothing but always it's a stack pointer. The register R13 is nothing but it's a stack pointer. It contains the stack pointer information. Okay, it is always pointing towards the stack which has been defined. R14 contents are nothing but the link register contents. It is also known as a link register. Okay, R14, and always R15 is the program counter. So R13, R14 and R15, these are the you can say common registers which are available in all the modes, you can say. Okay. I told you about the status registers. So the CPSR is the status register, current program status register, as well as there are the SPSR, which is the another status register is there, known as a saved program status register. Saved program status register. Okay. Now this is how the ARM register set looks like. So in every mode there are the registers available like this. The registers which have been shown in a yellow color, the registers which have been shown in a yellow color, those are the banked registers. Those are the banked registers. Means what? Normally the processor is working. Whenever you switch on the processor, by default it will enter into the user mode. Now I told you that whenever any interrupt occurs, the processor will change its mode from user to that particular mode. For example, suppose a fast interrupt request has been activated. So the processor will change its mode from user to FIQ mode. Okay. So whenever the processor is changing its mode from user to FIQ, it will copy the contents of the registers from R8 to R12 as it is into the R8 to R12 of a FIQ mode like this. So these register will be copied as it is. Whatever the current value is there inside those registers, those will be copied as it is into these registers. This is called as a saving the context. This is called as a saving the context. Of course, the stack pointer is also there. Link register, if it is available, that is also copied. Stack pointer register contents are there, those will be also copied. Okay. So yellow colored registers are nothing but the banked registers. So whenever the processor is changing its mode from the user mode, it will copy those register contents into the respective mode registers. So extension has been given. See that in all the modes the extension has been given. In short, those letters have been written FIQ underscore FIQ underscore FIQ. This is applicable to the fast interrupt request. SVC stands for the supervisor. ABT stands for the abort. IRQ stands for the IRQ interrupt request. UND stands for the undefined, like this. Okay. So this is how the register set looks like. Okay. So this is how again it has been shown here in a different way. Okay. So particularly in a thumb state. Okay. So the thumb state, you can say low registers have been shown and then the high registers have been shown. Of course, here we'll see the comparative chart in between the thumb state and the arm state. So under the thumb state, there are the limited number of registers available. So only the R0 to R7, these registers are available under the thumb state. This is very important. Okay, so limited number of registers available as a general purpose registers in case of thumb state. Other things are remaining as it is. Okay, so that comparative or the comparison has been shown over here. Okay, so only upper 8 registers are available in the thumb state, and in ARM state all the registers are available from R0 to R12. Okay, now we'll see further the explanation about the various modes. Okay, and we'll stop here. In the next session we'll see all these details.